Okay, so here we are live again. I'm Lise Colucci, one of the life coaches at queenbeing.com. And I don't know what happened, but YouTube would not let me back on even. So I don't know if it was on my end, on YouTube's end, or some kind of dark magic that happened. Anyway, so we're talking about codependency and how it affects us as adults and how it is instilled in us as children because of the toxic abuse from narcissistic parents. And I will just have to patch these two together, or you guys can just watch them in succession or something. I don't know. So anyway, I didn't have a whole lot more to say on the how this happens. I just kind of wanted to throw it out there and see if anyone had thoughts on it of their own, or if they're experiencing it or living through it. So what the thing that is being talked about with people is how it is now affecting them as adults in forming relationships and new relationships with, meeting new people, and how the need to please is there, and how it's very difficult to have a relationship in life where you're not giving more than you are receiving. So you go with the dark magic, I think, maybe. So yeah, I'm all thrown off now. Okay, back to it. One thing about people pleasing is we have to learn as adults now that it is not selfish to not give your gift of empathy all over the place. It is not selfish to not reach out to every person who talks to you with need in their voice, right? That we get to make the choice in our life of when we have the energy, when we have the time, when we get to have boundaries around our empathy, just because there is a gift of it that is stronger and more in it, in the desire in us, to help others is strong. That doesn't mean that we are obliged nor selfish, if we choose not to. So, and it's not selfless to give all the time. A lot of people who are very empathic feel that there's a selflessness of giving all the time. It's actually draining and can become not so giving anymore, because it's being done with a sense of an obligation that you don't wish to give, right? So what are you saying here? Definitely affected me through my entire life, says Belle. I can feel you. It's such an important topic. Need to learn more. Thanks for covering this. It is a conscious effort to not now. And what do you do, Jack, to not give all the time and to not try to reach out to help every single person? I think because what can happen is it can be a matter of just having to listen to people brag about their whatever, and then you wind up with a bunch of people around you who only want to talk about themselves, right? So you're saying awareness helped you? Yeah, awareness. And I think also seeing what's in it for me. What is it giving to the person who is people pleasing is also seeking something. What is it that you're seeking? If you're seeking reciprocity, then you need to be seeking it from those who have the ability to give that reciprocity, and not wasting time and energy on people who will just take, right? And of course, the only way to know that is through trial, and we have to put ourselves in life around people in order to do that, and that's a scary thing too. So listen halfway. I like that. Listen halfway. Listen without I think of it a little differently, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is exactly what you're saying when you say halfway. I think of active listening as that. It's actually listening more intently on the words being said and not trying to find a solution and not trying to relate to it. So if I'm listening actively, then I'm listening to the person themselves about what they're saying about the situation in their life. And I'm not trying to relate it to my life to create a connection with them. When I do that, I am not as attached to the outcome or my own needs in that situation for reciprocal relationship. And it gives me space to make a choice of whether I have the time and energy, patience, whatever, in that moment in time to go further and listen further, listen deeper, relate to them, connect with them, communicate with them, share with them myself, right? So I don't know if that's what you're saying with halfway, but it's like a deeper listening that's actually a halfway. It's without the connected relating, right? Okay, Lise, I've noticed since I've started healing, says Glitter Girl, when someone talks disrespectful to me, I stick up for myself, but I find later that I feel guilty for standing up for myself. I think that when we're taught this as children, imagine you're taught this your whole life, right? You're taught that you're supposed to be polite and kind and giving, and because you're a caring, giving person, you know better than to say something that could hurt someone's feelings. So then you have to say something to hurt that may or may not hurt someone's feelings if we don't know that saying no or standing up for yourself hurts someone's feelings, but we assume it might because we were taught that that's not a kind and giving way to talk to people, right? So when we are learning to do that, it directly comes back to everything you were taught. And so then maybe it's about looking at it and realizing, am I actually guilty, or was I taught and made to believe that I should feel guilty for that situation? You know, like, where is this guilt coming from? Did I actually do anything? Is there anything I did that I can have any control over that could have made it better? Did I word it wrong? Sometimes we word it clumsy and we may have to go back and say, wow, I really worded that clumsy. Here's what I meant. Sorry about that. And sometimes we did nothing. So, and we worded it direct and simply. Glitter Girl says, yes, I always feel I was being mean for standing up for myself. Mm-hmm. And so, like, questioning, like I said, questioning what I said, was it actually mean? You can throw it by people you trust. You know, is this mean to say to someone, or is this not mean? Because I don't know. I always feel like it's mean if I have to stand up for myself. So it's learning the language, right? And learning when we start placing boundaries, it always feels awkward, because the reason we don't have boundaries is because we've learned to feel comfortable without them. And even though we see the results are not what we want in our life and are not healthy for our life. So it's having to relearn how to think about it, that we are going to be uncomfortable while we're going through it, and then analyze that guilt a little bit, or talk to it, or figure out where it's coming from. If it's old programming making you feel that guilt, then again, it's working with it from that place to let it go and see that you are reacting to something old. You're not reacting to the situation that's actually just happened, right? And it may or may not change things, but it may at least give you perspective and awareness. And I think awareness is a huge way to help it change. Okay. Thank you, Lise. It's crazy. I'm relearning this at age 51. Yeah, we can relearn all kinds of things at any age, right? I think you're doing great. And I think that your awareness of it is a huge sign of your growth right now. So it's good. What was I going to say? I'm thinking of, so anyone watching this, if you have children in your life who are going through this, if you're co-parenting with someone who is creating this sort of situation in your child, let's find a way to talk about it so that we can help the kiddos out, or at least help ourselves know we're doing what we can to give the child tools. Okay. And I need questions around that. So if anyone has questions, leave them in the main comments, or if you're in here now, ask now, and we'll talk about it, because I'd like to talk about that later. I'm just kind of doing shorter videos today, so I'll probably be on like 5 more minutes. And then we'll go further into this later. Okay. How do you deal with the little sister who is also a narcissist? My son is also one. In what way deal with? In what way do you need to have her in your life? And what's a little more information? So Because the answer is always don't, right? With a narcissist, but sometimes that's not possible or wanted. So what do you need to deal with her, and what kind of things happen? What did Belle say? Stopped responding to insincere, close family relationships with older family. I want them in my life as time's limited. So I practice patience of what they, acceptance of what they need. No expectation for support. Right. And what you're talking about there, Belle, is seeing, and this may help you too, Penny, if you do need to deal with or choose to deal with your toxic sister and you don't want to eliminate her from your life or can't, or for whatever, or you see her intermittently at family functions and you got to deal with her there. It's seeing that person exactly as they are, complete acceptance that they will not change. It is not your job to change them, but it is also not your job to cater to them. And complete acceptance of who they are so that your emotional connection and your emotional tie to the hurtful things that they're doing and saying is lessened. Does that make sense? She helps in many ways, but very demanding. Mom has passed, so now it's my fun. Yeah, and boundaries is the key. And that's what we're talking about too. Full acceptance, I don't know the situation, so I'm just going to make up stuff. Sometimes people will have a toxic family member. They don't want to eliminate the connection entirely. They don't want to go no contact. But they also can't disengage. And what they're doing when they're engaging, and what I mean by that is the person might do something really, what did you say? Really demanding, really forceful, really pushing their way on things, really needing everything their way, demanding that they control everything, that kind of thing. Okay. And instead of saying, I hear you, and just doing your thing your way anyway, and not actually doing what they want, but giving the words like, yeah, I hear you, or, oh, okay, and kind of gray rocking it, people say, why do you always have to be so demanding? Can't you just calm down? Can't you just see that there's other people in the room? They engage with the toxic behavior. And all that does is escalate the toxic behavior or create other toxic behavior or get them to smear you or get them because they start feeling threatened. There isn't a way to deal with them where they're going to change and it's going to get better. There's only keeping yourself protected and disengaging from the toxic behavior as it affects you emotionally. And it's really difficult. It's not an easy thing. But that's what people who have the most success staying in contact because they have to or need to or want to for whatever reason, that is usually what happens. It's full acceptance that they are not going to change. They cannot and will not be accountable to their behavior, to their own emotional, and they're very egotistical and they live in a delusion. So, and they're going to argue. Yeah, you say yes, and they want to argue. So they want the negative supply as much as the positive supply. And once you're on that devaluing negative spin or side of things, it's like fuel to them to keep filling and feeding that fire in them that is devaluing other people. So it really is about literally unhooking from it, detaching and not reacting to it. They do get a kick out of the arguments. They get a certain kind of supply that makes them feel justified because they're living in a world where they believe that they're right. They believe the delusion that they live in, that they are the most important person in the world, that they're better than everyone else, that they're, all of the things you read about narcissism, they actually do believe that delusion. And they can't be accountable because if they were, it would mean admitting that that delusional world isn't real and that other people have feelings and their own realities. Okay. When my son, Glitter Girl says, when my son disrespects me either on the phone or my home, I either hang up immediately or make him leave. I'll even call the police if he refuses to leave. Right. It's cut and dry, plain and simple, black and white. And when dealing with a narcissist, a known narcissist, or someone with a very low empathy, or someone that can't relate to relate to you with empathy. For whatever reason, they're not able to relate to you with empathy. When dealing with people like that, it's important to relate to them in the same way. And that is really hard for people with high empathy, because we want to fix things. We want to harmonize. We want peace. We want people to learn and grow and all the good things, right? But people like this won't. And so it's relating to a person with where they're at. So if you know that she doesn't have a whole lot of empathy, she needs her way, all of those things, and you relate to her that way. You don't relate to her from a place of empathy. Or rather, you do. You empathize with the fact that she has none. You don't empathize with the fact that she had a hard life or that she gets her feelings hurt, because all that is her power tool to get you sucked in to do the dance that she's orchestrating. Okay? Does that make sense? Anything else today, you guys? Because I'm going to go otherwise and be back soon and talk more about this or something else related. I don't know if that helps, Penny. And if there's any other questions, like I said, ask away. I will do my best to get on here and reply. Or if anyone has any topics or anything they want talked about, again, you can always leave it in a comment and I will do my best to talk about it here. Question from Belle. When you choose to stay because you don't wish to lose the relationship, are you saying that when practicing Grey Rock, you just do not respond to inappropriate behavior, no engage? Well, yeah, you can set a boundary by saying, I won't. I mean, it really depends on what's going to happen in the narcissistic rage that comes when you set that boundary, or being very aware that a narcissist won't let you set a boundary and they're going to push against it. You can try to set a boundary. It's the closer you are to the person, the harder that will be. If it's someone really on the outside, then it's a lot easier. If there's someone close, like within your household, it's very difficult, if not impossible. But pretty much, yes, there is no relating to someone who can't relate. There's only managing your situation so that you stay as safe as you can. So basically, your life is about survival then, when you stay within close proximity to toxic people. Life's about survival. That's what I meant. Why it is creating, the codependency in us from childhood on is because it has been about survival the whole time. And we need to not live a life where we're just trying to survive, right? And if what we're taught is the only way to survive is to please, then we have a habit of people pleasing that is trained into us and links directly back to us surviving. So yeah, it will continue, and that's what the narcissist is banking on. And I don't want to say they know it intentionally. They just pick up on it. They pick up on the fact that, this person will do whatever I want, and they'll I can do whatever I can. What did you say? When they're doing something inappropriate or toxic, this person will engage with me. And they like that, right? So yeah. How do you get through to them when you want to teach them? You don't teach them anything. This is the problem. There is no way to get through to them. There is no way to teach them. They live in a world where they believe the delusion that what they are thinking is the reality and should be, and the only way they can survive is to maintain it. So basically, they create this ego-based reality that lacks empathy and lacks accountability. If you don't have accountability, it means you can't, they can't, or won't. I say can't, but you can't if a person is so believing that their ego is who they are, then they literally can't take accountability for their bad actions, because it would mean change. And the ego won't let them change because they're always right. So without empathy in there, if a person doesn't see how they affect other people and how, and that it matters that they affect other people and that other people feel on a deeper level than they realize. And that, like all the things and without the ability to connect on that level and to be, it's not only that, a narcissist is so afraid of their own emotions that they will not deal with the ones that require change. They just won't. They'll blame everybody else instead. They'll push the blame. So there isn't really a teaching them anything. Is that making sense? I keep catching myself doing that. What can I get you? Oh yeah, that, yeah. There's no way to get through to them, says Glitter Girl to Penny. They believe their own lies. Yes, exactly. It's like getting a blind person to see, right? They're lacking the ability to have empathy. It's not that you can teach them empathy. It's not that you can teach them. I need to find a way to talk about this, that like a good analogy for this. It'll come to me. I don't have it quite yet. Does that make sense though? That there isn't, all you can do around them is manage your own connection and your own response so that you're not hurt by it 20 minutes later. It may flare up in the moment, but you need to be able to be disconnected enough from it to not let it affect you. That's why it's not something you want to do in a day-to-day living situation, because you can't live a whole life that way and thrive and be happy. They can totally fake empathy. That's right. Shannon's saying that they can fake empathy is all. They can totally fake empathy, and you can see it because it always relates back to them. If you look at it enough, you see it's not empathy. It's what is the word? It's not even compassion. It's relating. They can relate to things. Of course, they once had a, I don't know. They once had a scary thing happen to them. That same scary thing happens to someone else. They can relate to it. They once had a bad thing happen. That bad thing happens to someone else. They can relate to it. So it looks like, oh my gosh, they have all this empathy. If they grew up poor and they see people grow up poor and they're like, oh, it's such a hard life. I feel so sorry, so bad for them. I want to help them, lift themselves out of that or whatever. That's just them relating to something that happened to them. And because the world revolves around them, it's really an important thing. So they can fake morals. They have a moral code. They aren't without morals. Their moral code just does not include the same empathy that it does for other people. So it can get confusing. And the more covert and the more altruistic the narcissist is, the more confusing this gets. Okay. I think they feel bad for themselves when they fake it. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they relate to a situation. They feel bad for themselves. Like, I don't want that to happen to me again. I remember when that happened to me. We all do that, but that's the only way they can relate, through empathy, through what looks like empathy. Empathy isn't that. You can see something that has never happened to you is happening to someone. You can hear a story. It can be good, bad, what doesn't matter. And you feel that person feels something. It's not that I feel what they're feeling. Sometimes, often, yes, but I don't know that I feel what they're feeling because I can't ask them sometimes, or I can relate to it, and then they can say, yeah, that's what I'm feeling. But it's often, having empathy means being able to see that someone is experiencing something and realize and give them the respect and credit of that actual feeling, right? So, and the narc won't do that. They can relate but not empathize, right? Two completely different things, but it looks a heck of a lot like empathy when you're talking about coverts and when you're talking about altruistic narcissists and communal narcissists who will use the good deeds they do to lure people in and to make themselves look like the hero. So there's that. Okay. Anything else, you guys, for today? Is it love they fake? Do they fake love? Yes. Their love is not love based on compassion, empathy, relating, shared experiences. I mean, what is love based on? When you love someone, when you truly love someone, you are relating to them. You see them as an individual, and you see that individual so deeply that, like, I'm thinking of people I love right now and I want to cry, right? Because I see them as who they are, the person they are, and I find them as a person to be someone that I respect and I care for and I love, right? So there's that But the way a narcissist loves is, that is my belonging. I love it. That is mine. That child is mine. That's my child. I love that child. I can do what I want to it. I control it. I make sure that, that everything is set up for it the way I think it, like it's a very controlling, very selfish, very transactional. I will give you, what did my narcissistic abuser used to say? If you're good, then you deserve my love. And when you behave in a way that I don't like, you don't deserve it. Like that's the level that's the level of transactional. I used to say, you're so tit for tat, like if I don't give, then you don't give. Like, what if I'm having a bad day? What if I, the things we say to them, and they go, you're supposed to, so yeah, their love is about what they get. If you worship them, then they love you in that moment. It's, it's a shiny new toy. As Angie says, I love you like a cell phone, right? They love you like a thing, and they love their children like a thing. And it can look like a parental love, but it isn't, because you start seeing the behaviors that they do and the way they treat people, children, their partners. And it's so conditional. As you said, they're conditional love. It's so conditional, and it's so transactional, and it so lacks witnessing that other person as an actual human being and an actual individual all in themselves, right? Okay. What do we say? Like a treat. Yep. You're a prize, and then you're not. That's why they can devalue a person. We can all get in a bad mood and do things that become devaluing to other people. We catch it, we apologize, we move on, right? When we have empathy. When a person doesn't, it's the way a narcissist loves is through giving and taking away. We call that love bombing and devaluing, but it really is transactional. I give, I take away, I give, I take away as a narcissist, right? So the narcissist gives, the narcissist takes. That's the love bombing and the devaluing. And then eventually because this is the way they operate, they use that to form the bond, so that you are constantly, once they take, you're constantly seeking what they give. And you equate that with love, because the chemicals in our brain, because deep in our amygdala, we have bonded with this person because of our brains, because of the chemistry, because of the manipulation. We equate it with love because it looks a heck of a lot like love, but it isn't. Okay. So I think does anyone else have anything else? Yeah. When they don't feel, they just stare at you until you feel guilty. Oh, there's that too. That's right. It is such a complex topic. Thanks for insight again. Great. It was great to see you too. She said, you've got to give to receive. Right there. So simple. That is exactly it. When someone says that, okay. You're welcome for listening. I hope it makes sense. And if you have any other questions, again, hit me up or come in later. I will try to be here. I don't know. Is it Tuesday? I'll try to come on one more time this week. I just feel topic stumped lately, and I need to just get with it. All right. Good talk, you guys. I will see you later. If anyone needs individual help, coaching-wise, you know where to find me, or if you don't, check out the links in the main comment, and I'm there. If you are interested in group coaching, it is reasonably priced at $15 a week. So we bill it by month, but you can always request weekly if needed. And the group is great, and help each other out, as well as get some coaching involved as well. There's that, and the link is in the main comments. And if not, you can always email me for it. And I think that's it. Again, if you want texting notification, am I going live? Text me at 33222. Put the word Lise Live, LISELIVE, hit send, and I will text you 10 minutes prior to. You guys take care. Have a lovely week. I hope it's not too hot where you are. You stay safe and all that out there in this crazy world, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.